Hello again to another Agakala React. And today we'll be watching the California Gold Rush. And because on the 24th January 1848, James Marshall found gold in Sutter's Mill in Coloma, California. So we'll be watching South Carolina ATV channel, and the title is California Gold Rush, History in a Nutshell. Let's just see. Obviously everyone heard about California Rush, and okay, maybe not everyone, but I did hear. I don't know much about it, so let's learn something new. Okay, starting interestingly.
Phew. Anyone who has ever gone mining or prospecting can tell you this is some hard work. Unfortunately, hard work doesn't always pay off.
That's true as well.
Sometimes luck has to be on your side. This edition of History in a Nutshell will explore such a case. The California Gold Rush. The discovery of gold in the late 1840s changed the American West forever. Hundreds of thousands of folks from the United States and abroad flocked to California with hopes and dreams of making a quick buck.
Yeah, I wonder if that would... If the history... Probably the history wouldn't go like that if that gold wouldn't be found.
Many others were not quite so lucky. Making the trek to California was difficult enough, but many who actually made it to California had to face long periods of grueling, back-breaking labor on top of the dog-eat-dog lawlessness of the Wild West. The Gold Rush is a significant event in American history and essentially fast-tracked California to becoming a state in 1850.
A free state under
From 1848 to 1855, about $2 billion worth of precious metal was extracted from the area during the Gold Rush, which reached its peak in 1852.
Is that $2 billion that's in today, or that's
into the history of the Gold Rush? As the Mexican-American War concluded, California became an American possession. At the time, the area was populated by about 6,500 Californios, 700 Americans, and 150,000 Native Americans. January 24th, 1848, was a typical workday for carpenter James W. Marshall. Marshall was commissioned by German-born Swiss pioneer John Augustus Sutter to construct a water-powered sawmill in Coloma,
German-born Swiss pioneer
on the American River. Sutter was the founder of the colony called Nueva Helvetia, which is present-day Sacramento.
So that was okay.
While digging a channel for this sawmill, Marshall looked down and
That's
saw
not that far
shiny
from Yosemite National Park,
in the
isn't
water
it?
below him. As soon as the workday was over, Marshall made a 4-day trip to present his discovery to Sutter. After running some tests, it turned out that the shiny metal flakes Marshall found were indeed pure gold.
There you go.
Despite Sutter and Marshall wanting to keep the discovery a secret, it would not take long for rumors of a gold discovery to circulate in nearby San Francisco. In April 1848, some curious San Franciscans made their way to the South Fork of the American River to do some digging for themselves.
That must have been, if I'm not mistaken, San Francisco was very small back then as well.
By the name of Sam Brannan. In May, Brannan returned to San Francisco, where he excitedly confirmed the rumors while running up and down the streets like a madman, holding a glass bottle filled with gold dust. To say that San Francisco became ablaze with excitement would be an understatement. Many San Franciscans dropped whatever they were doing right then and there and made a beeline for Sutter's Fort with hopes of finding gold. Soon after, news of the gold discovery spread north and south, and Californians journeyed to the Sierra Nevada mountains with hopes of striking it rich. Sam Brannan ended up becoming California's first millionaire. He made his fortune selling mining supplies to gold seekers.
Okay, so he didn't even look for the gold. He just was selling stuff,
took
supplies.
in around $36,000 worth of gold, about $1 million in today's value.
Yeah.
News of gold in California spread to the East Coast. However, many were skeptical at first, taking the news as exaggerated. That would all change on December 8th, 1848, when President James K. Polk officially announced during a congressional address that the news is true. Gold has indeed been found in California. Many American citizens soon found themselves gripped with gold fever, and a mass movement westward began. Thousands of Eastern Americans, mostly men, made their way to the Sierra Nevada mountains, the location of the mother lode.
Like Tahoe?
Although some women did tag along for the journey, most were left behind to run the businesses and farms. People from other parts of the world, including Europe, China, Mexico, and South America, flocked to California as well.
Well, obviously.
Out of all the foreigners traveling to California, the Chinese, which made their way across the Pacific Ocean, was the largest group. They came to America to escape the political and economic turmoil of the ruling Qing government and the destruction from the Taiping Rebellion.
Probably weren't going there just for
Starting
the
over
gold,
in the
but
US
just they were escaping.
seemed like a breath of fresh air for Chinese immigrants. All these folks making the journey to California were called 49ers.
Oh, that's where the name of the thing comes up, isn't it? The one of the...
Yep.
There you
That's
go.
how a certain football team in California got its name. So how did Americans get to California? There were primarily three ways. The first was by sailing ship to sail all the way around South America, turning at Cape Horn, and then sailing up the Pacific Ocean to San Francisco. That trip typically took between 4 to 6 months.
How long would it take to just go around, like...
The second was to take a steamship to the Isthmus of Panama, cross overland, then take another steamship up to San Francisco.
That's more expensive, obviously.
The third and most popular way was to cross the North American
That's
continent
still 3 to 7
via the
months?
Oregon and California trails.
Damn.
With all these folks heading to California, this made for tremendous business opportunities. Companies such as the U.S. Mail Steamship Company and the Pacific Mail Steamship Company obtained vast wealth among their owners.
Panama. Was that...
Wells Fargo got its start during the gold rush as
Whoa.
an express shipping company and bank,
Interesting.
transporting gold bullion, mail, and other valuables back and forth.
Look at the doggy sitting there in the box
of the U.S. Mining towns sprung up all over California.
Yeah.
In
A
order
lot of
to
them doesn't
accommodate the
exist
mass
anymore.
influx of gold
Yeah,
seekers,
Sacramento,
many businesses
Modesto.
such as shops, hotels, saloons, and more were established with the goal of making their own fortunes. Wagon drivers called teamsters turned a good profit by taking supply goods to California. The flooding of people to San Francisco caused that town's population to explode. In 1848, there were roughly only 600 people living there. 2 years later, you're looking at between 25,000 to 30,000 people, with more arriving every single day.
So I'm guessing without the gold rush, without finding the gold in California
Once folks
and
got
going
to
that,
California,
San Francisco
how was
would not
gold
exist
obtained?
as it exists now.
The goal was to find as much gold as quickly as possible. Mining technology radically advanced thanks to determination and ingenuity. The
That's how it
money
usually happens,
was in the
isn't it?
ground, and the more dirt prospectors could process at a time, the more gold they were likely to find. The most common method was called placer mining, where miners would comb stream beds for gold using various tools. Prospectors panned for gold by collecting dirt in a pan and used water from a stream to filter out gold from unwanted debris. Panning worked, but was notoriously slow.
Yeah.
Newer tools such as
well,
lockers and long toms were invented to process larger loads of dirt at a faster rate.
Okay. So people were
Actually
kind of like
finding gold was more a
inventors
matter of
as
luck
well
than anything. Depending on where one mined, some location claims turned a small fortune, while others turned up little to nothing at all. Most of the surface gold dried up by around 1850, but the demand for profit continued to increase.
That's only 2 years.
Industrialization led to a new mining method in 1853 called hydraulic mining.
I don't think I ever hear
where
about that.
Prospectors built dams and used high-pressure water jets to clear away massive amounts of gold-bearing dirt and gravel. By the end of the 1850s, the California gold rush fizzled out.
Already? I thought that was longer than that.
In California
I didn't realize it was only took like 10 years and that was gone.
Many miners went to look for gold elsewhere.
Interesting.
When the Comstock lode was discovered in Nevada in 1859, many left California,
for Nevada,
creating a new rush.
Silver rush.
What are the lasting legacies of the California gold rush?
Probably
the rush was one of the largest single movements of human beings in world history. More than 300,000 people from all over the world came to California searching for that precious substance. While some folks made fortunes during the rush, it came at a cost. Merchants and entrepreneurs made far more profit than the miners themselves did.
Yeah.
On the plus side, many of the businesses formed during the rush prospered, and America's economy boomed thanks to the sudden influx of gold and capital. The California gold rush was so profitable, in fact, economies all over the globe experienced stimulation.
That's good.
Many miners who didn't strike it lucky finding gold were able to cash in on green gold. Some folks traded in their mining tools for farming equipment and took advantage of California's climate to establish prosperous farms. People certainly needed to eat during the rush.
Yeah, it's true as well. People needed
While
to
the
eat
rush
later.
had its perks, it unfortunately created massive negative impacts for California as well. Much of California's landscape was destroyed by the hydraulic mining, and the dams built for hydraulic mining took much needed water away from surrounding farmlands. Hydraulic mining became so destructive that the practice was eventually banned by federal law in 1884.
Wow.
Massive amounts of mercury
more than
were
150
used to
years
extract
ago.
gold from the ground. So
And
much mercury
you can still
was
see
used
the
during the rush
leftover
that the waters
from it.
surrounding the Sierra Nevada mountains are still contaminated with it, and could
Damn.
possibly remain that way for around 10,000 years.
Whoa.
If someone found gold, those findings could just as easily be taken away. There was little to no law enforcement in California's gold fields, and crimes like robberies and murder were common. Many women became widows thanks to crime, mining accidents, or disease. Additionally, one could work all day mining for gold and then turn around and lose it by drinking or gambling it all away.
Yep, that happens everywhere.
Oppression of minorities was another major issue during the rush. When the supply of gold began to dwindle, violence and anti-immigrant tensions skyrocketed. Many Chinese immigrants were hard workers, at first welcomed by their mining compatriots. Unfortunately, they soon became victims of prejudice, accused of stealing the gold which white miners believed belonged to them. California's government even went so far as to impose a $20 per month tax on immigrants in 1850. The anti-immigrant sentiment became so bad that people from France, Mexico, and Chile gave up and went back to their home countries. The demographic which suffered the worst
what about Native Americans?
was California's Native American population. The sudden rush of people to California brought diseases which Native Americans were not prepared to handle. The increase in farms pushed many American Indians from their homes. Gravel, silt, and toxic chemicals from mining operations destroyed habitats and killed fish. Around 150,000 American Indians lived in California just before the rush. Due to genocides, diseases,
Wow.
and destruction of habitats.
This
By
is less than,
1873,
30 years?
Roughly 30,000
25
remained.
years, actually? My god. Terrible. That just... The way how Native Americans were just used and killed is just something that is just mind-blowing, and it's absolutely terrible part of our history. And I'm saying our history because I'm not saying, like, yeah, I'm from Poland, so my ancestors haven't had, you could say, haven't had anything to do with the with Native Americans and their demise, pretty much, because there's like, what, 2% of them Native Americans living in America now? But that doesn't mean we're not responsible, because people from Europe, that's who those whites that they refer to are. And people from Europe back then, they're using everyone, isn't it? If you kind of look at the history, look what happened with people from Africa, look what happened with people in Asia. Oh, Australia, because it was penal colony, isn't it, as well, and things like that. It's just terrible. But honestly, I did not realize that the California Gold Rush was just like 10 years long. And that was all. Nothing else after that. And then just people moved on. I mean, they moved on to farms and they moved on to Nevada to do the silver and stuff. But still, I always was thinking that was longer than that. That's just, wow. Oh, yeah. Well, it's like what I was saying earlier, without it, California wouldn't be how it is, isn't it? Because it wouldn't have those old people that went there, and then most of them stayed and had those farms, and then those farms. It's just, maybe it would be for better. It would be for better, definitely, without the gold rush for Native Americans back then. I wonder how would that be? How would the history of the world be if Europeans just stayed in Europe? I wonder. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.